Right then, Manchester United have beaten Burnley 2-0 at Turf Moor. You heard me right, 0-point for Burnley. United have won back-to-back games again in the Premier League. It feels like progress. I know it could all come tumbling down if we don't manage to go and get 3 points. After the game against Newcastle, I said this means nothing if we don't follow it up with 3 points against Burnley. We've followed it up with 3 points against Burnley, and I'm going to repeat it. This means nothing if we don't keep the pressure on and we don't get 3 points now against Arsenal on New Year's Day. This is a big thing. I really think we have to go and get 3 points against Arsenal, and that's us then into the FA Cup fixtures. And then if we, I think it's Norwich on the outside of that, if we can manage to get 6 points in our next 2 matches, I will be so confident that United can go on and get a top 4 finish this season, which, considering everything that's happened, considering the starting 11 that we've been putting out, everything considered, I think that is phenomenal progress from Manchester United. And I'm very excited for what this is going to mean if we get the right signings, which is a big if because we all know what our board's like. But if we can get the right signings, blend it with some of these top youngsters that we've got coming through, we are looking exciting. But anyway, without further ado, here is 5 things that we learned watching United beat Burnley. In at number 1, Ollie's game management. Now, I thought Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had excellent game management in this game. United didn't look pressured in the first half. We looked confident. We looked like we was in control. We didn't batter them, but we was making chances. We prevented them making chances. And when we eventually got our goal, it was well worked for Manchester United and well earned. At half-time, we was doing a watch-along. We sort of speculated, I wonder how this is going to go now. What's he going to do? What is Ollie's plan for the second half? Is he going to go a little bit more conservative? Because I thought Burnley was going to really try and turn it up and try and get an equaliser. And to an extent, they kind of did. I mean, the shots from the first half to the second half, it showed you that they actually did. I think we clipped the wings of Brandon Williams a little bit and Ashley Young because they didn't at all venture into the opposition half in the second half. And I thought it was really good game management on that front. Aside from the attacking nature of those, we kept it very compact. And even though that they had a few shots, they didn't really trouble us. There wasn't the absolute blind panic that we've seen. So I think for someone that's had a bit of criticism about his game management, his substitutions, all of those sorts of things, I thought Solskjaer dealt with it at half-time very well. And I thought his substitutions kept everything going in the same sort of vein, didn't massively, drastically alter the game in a negative sense for United. So I'd say, that's 1 in the win column there for Ole and his game management. Number 2, Matic was good. In a preview that I did with Full-Time Devils, I said, do you know what, actually, I thought we was going to have to use Matic because of not having McTominay. We needed someone a little bit more defensive-minded. Then when we heard Pogba wasn't going to play, you're like, oh my days, what are we going to be doing here? What is the squad? Then the starting 11 came out and you're like, Matic, Fred, Andreas, what's going on here? This has got the potential to actually be all right because at times all 3 of them have shown flashes of being very, very good, but at times all 3 of them have shown flashes of being absolutely terrible as well. What we got was very good. The blend of them actually worked quite well. They all limited their mistakes and maybe the actual experience of Matic shown here because he didn't do anything spectacular. He kept the ball moving. He kept the ball flowing and he kept it ticking quite nicely. But he didn't do anything spectacular, certainly nothing that caught the eye. And I think that's actually a good thing at times. You want players that are a little bit grey. You don't really see them doing flashy stuff because they're not necessarily out of position. I thought what Matic did was offer a screen to the back 2 centre-halves, because they was getting peppered a little bit. We know that Burnley are going to go direct. We know that that's how they're going to really hamper us. At set pieces that we were defending, Matic was there. At the long balls, Matic was there. So Matic was pretty good today. It's not a player that I want to see week in, week out for United, but in the dire circumstances that we found ourselves in against Burnley, could do a lot worse than what we saw tonight with Nemanja Matic. There might be a case that he's shot windowing himself. If that's the case, that's the case. But either way, we got a decent performance out from him tonight, and I think it needs mentioning. Number 3, Rashford, goal machine. He scored his scruffy goals, and I mean that. It looked like he tried to 2-foot it, didn't it? Let's be honest. That was the scruffiest of scruffy goals, but he's now up to 12 goals in the league. No one that isn't called Jamie Vardy has scored more than Marcus Rashford. He's also got 4 assists in the league as well, 16 in all competitions. We really wanted Marcus to step up. We looked at all the stats last year and we was like, well, do you know what? He's having quite a lot of shots. He needs to convert those shots from the 8.4 conversion rate that he's shown last season, which was spookily exactly the same as Cristiano Ronaldo at this stage of his career, and start being a little bit more clinical. Marcus is now taking way less shots to actually score some goals, and he's on a blistering run of form at the moment. Looks well at home on that left-hand side. Don't know if you saw the interview with BT Sport with Robbie Van Persie, where he was talking about how happy he was playing off the left-hand side, how happy he is partnering with Anthony Martial at the moment. Marcus looks great. As long as he's on form like this, scoring goals, Manchester United are going to be tough to beat. And I think it's also worth the nod as well, as much as Marcus is the one absolutely blasting the way at the moment, Mason Greenwood also on 8 goals, he's doing bits. But Anthony Martial has scored more than Firmino, and he scored more than Gabriel Jesus as well. So he's not, even though he's behind Marcus, he's not having a bad one either. Doing all right this season. Number 4, cross appreciation. Dan James and Andreas Pereira's assists for Tony and Marcus tonight. I mean, how good were those crosses? United have put in aimless cross after aimless cross year after year. And I've wanted to see just a more considered ball. The fact both of these balls was on the floor, I think, means a lot. But the weight of them, the timing of them, absolutely fantastic. United, I think tonight we took 8 crosses compared to the 26, I think it was, that Burnley had. We are considering our passes a little bit more. We are being a little bit more intelligent. And I've hammered Andreas Pereira's decision-making. Well, against Burnley, it was a lot better. And the assist there, in previous matches, he'd have shot instead of playing Martial in the way that he did. So big up to Dan James and Andreas Pereira, both learning. Is that another win in the column there for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that he's actually putting these lads through some sort of development and training and learning? Haters will say no, but I think it's a question that's worth asking. I'm not saying it definitely is, but we are seeing a development in these players, so I think it's worth noting. And number 5, a clean sheet. The 14th of September against Leicester at home was the last time Manchester United kept a clean sheet in the league. And it's felt like such a long time as well. It's felt like we've needed, and we did go and score 2 goals, but it's felt like we always needed to keep scoring goal after goal after goal because we was going to make a silly mistake. The fact that we was put under so much pressure against the sort of team that we have been so bad against this season, and a team that's been rough, and a team that's going to go very direct against us, all the sorts of things that Lindelof, De Gea, this team has had issues with this season. And we got a 2-0 win on the road, 48 hours after we played a previous game, with a heavily rotated side. Look, there's so much to moan about. There's so many things that's not going right with the club. This went right. This was fantastic. And I'm going to say, brilliant job tonight, lads. Clean sheet, 2-0, 3 points. We are 1 point off 4th place. 1 point. And I think most of us would agree, 4th isn't where Manchester United have ambitions to be. We want to be winning titles. That is where Manchester United are. But you don't get to a title without having progress first. I think if we manage to come 4th, all of us could agree, with the young squad we've got at our disposal, that is progress. With a couple of right signings, we could be on to an absolute winner. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and have a fantastic New Year's Eve. See you in a bit.